We're less than 24 hours away from the NBA Draft being here. The New York Knicks, they do not have a first-round pick. They do own the 50th overall selection, but rumors out there say the Knicks are trying to move up in the second round to draft a difference maker. We're going to break that down on today's show, as well as give you some Knicks draft targets that Knicks insiders have linked to the Knicks. But first, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we're going to be live tomorrow and Thursday covering every single pick of the NBA Draft. So if you want the best draft coverage on YouTube with a little bit more Knicks focus than the other guys, hit that sub button, turn those notifications on, and join us tomorrow and Thursday. Welcome in to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's talk about the trade rumors that revolve around this organization as we are here 24 hours away from the NBA Draft. Round one being here now that it is a two-day event. The Knicks own the 50th pick in the NBA Draft, and it's the only selection that they have at their disposal at this time. But as we know, Leon Rose, he is a wheeler and a dealer on draft night. He's been the head of basketball operations for the New York Knicks on 5 NBA drafts, and he has made trades in 4 of them, and I think it might become 5 of 6 drafts when we get to the end of round 2. Jonathan Wasserman, who covers the NBA Draft for Bleacher Report, he's their lead NBA draft guy, tweeted out this, said, "Let's go! Hit me with some draft thoughts, questions. We're almost at the finish line." And then Knicks till the death, love that, on Twitter said any intel on any workouts the Knicks have had, or if there's smoke, they may move up, down, or out, because we've definitely seen Leon Rose trade out of a couple of drafts. And Wasserman replied to him and said, "I'd bet on them moving up into the early part of the second round." And maybe the Knicks think that they can move into the 30s in this draft to select a guy that should have went in round 1, kind of like they did with Tyler Kolek last year. We've seen Leon Rose not afraid to pull punches on NBA Draft night to either trade back, move forward, or trade out of the draft in totality. Like, he's going to do whatever it takes for him to do what's best for the organization on draft night. We've seen that time and time again. And where the New York Knicks sit with their roster and the salary cap and where they're at from the first apron and where they're at from the second apron, they need cheap players. And that's what second round picks are. And they need those guys to produce. Like, you're going to need Tyler Kolek to be a little bit of an impact player this year. Ariel Hukporti is going to be thrown into the action as well. You're going to see a guy like Kevin McCullough be expected to produce. And Pacome Dadier, who was a first-round pick last year, he also is going to be someone the Knicks are going to rely on. The Knicks at this moment have 7 future second-round picks. So they have the ammunition needed if they want to be able to move up in the second round. And if they identify someone that maybe slips out of round 1 and they can move up to the top of round 2 and select that guy, that's probably the best path they want to travel down, because they need those cheap, cost-controlled players that can produce early on in their NBA career. And it's hard to find that guy at 50 overall. It can happen, but it's probably more likely that pick 34 is going to produce early on than pick 50. Chris Persianen of Clutch Points. Awesome guy. Awesome follow on Knicks Twitter. Go show him some love. He's crushing it with Clutch Points. He reported today that the Knicks have interest in several forwards in the second round range of this year's NBA Draft. And we'll go through 2 names that he mentioned specifically on today's show. And then James L. Edwards III of The Athletic, he put out some names that we should keep an eye on. So we're going to merge those lists together, and we're going to start with Adu Thiero, the athletic forward out of Arkansas. This is a 6'6" and a 1/4-inch wing without shoes, 219 pounds, got a 7-foot wingspan, and an 8-foot, 8.5-inch standing reach. This past year for Arkansas, averaged 15.1 points per game, nearly 6 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 54.5% from the floor, doesn't really let it fly from downtown. A smart basketball player who knows his role and plays it well, has the athletic frame to finish at the rim and help on defense, unable to really create looks for himself on offense or others. He didn't test at the NBA Combine, but definitely in line to be the most explosive athlete in the entire class. He averaged 1.62 points per possession on cuts in the half court. That's the 93rd percentile. So he's a good off-ball mover and can play out of the dunker spot as well. An elite slasher, 97th percentile in dunks made, 91st percentile in shots at the rim, and 92nd percentile in non-paint twos made as well. So he could score around the rim, super athletic. The jump shot is iffy, 40% effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot opportunities. That's the 28th percentile. And he's more of a straight line driver at this point. He could find himself in a role that could contribute early on, but there's still ways for him to grow in this league. Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports saying, De'Aro is a slasher with a jacked frame and an explosive first step, but he has severe limitations on offense as a shooter. If he's able to figure out the shot, then his length and versatility would make him a classic 3-and-D role player. And look, you can kind of say that about anybody that's athletic and plays defense. If he improves the shot, he could be a 3-and-D guy. I like to focus more on what he already is, which is an elite half-court cutter, a great finisher at the rim, above the rim, around the rim, and the Knicks need more guys that get downhill. So this is a guy that I could see why the Knicks are interested in him. We'll see if they're able to pull the trigger on him in the NBA draft. Let's go to another wing that Persianen of Clutch Points talked about, and that's Jonathan Pierre. Averaged 13.8 points per game this last year, played at about 28 minutes per night, 6.3 rebounds for him. And this is a guy that's a little bit of a late bloomer, had a late growth spurt in his life as well. And I'm just going to read you what Chris Persianen had to say about Pierre, because I thought it was a really interesting kind of breakdown. He said another target, league sources said, has interest the Knicks to some extent is Pierre, 6'9", 210-pound senior from Belmont. Pierre transferred from the Division II level to Memphis after a late growth spurt of his own. He was a 5'10" guard in his freshman year at high school. He then started his senior year at 6'2", and then he grew 5 inches mid-season. Pierre grew 2 more inches in college and ended up at Belmont. This is a guy that's got some athleticism as well. Still a raw prospect and a ways to go. But sometimes when you're drafted in the second round of the NBA draft, you're looking to just hit on a lottery ticket. And that's what I'm calling Dink Paint. I'm a big fan of Dink Paint. This is someone that James L. Edwards linked to the New York Knicks, but I got a personal relationship with Pate. I got to cover him when he played high school basketball in Dallas, Texas as a freshman. I remember walking into the gym, and I saw this guy standing at 6'7", 6'8", built like most 15-year-olds are not built, and I tapped some guy on the shoulder. I was like, yo, who's that guy? And he's like, a soon-to-be 5-star, maybe the biggest name coming out of Dallas high school basketball here. He's 6'6" plus without shoes, already over 200 pounds. He nearly has a 6'10" wingspan, an 8'8" standing reach. A really well put together young man, and he's a point guard through and through. He'll probably be more of a point forward in the NBA just because of the size that he possesses, but he is athletic, man. He can get to the rim. Needs to improve as a shooter, no doubt, but he has elite playmaking skills. He was forced to play on ball with the G League Ignite a couple of years ago before moving to more of an off-ball role with Mexico City, so he's already got professional hoops under his belt. A quick athlete, both laterally and straight speed. A solid shooter off the catch in the mid-range, but not a good shooter from deep. Has a little bit of a hitch in his jump shot that he's got to work on as well. I think he's someone that if you develop him and you have him around the right people, he can develop into a really good player in this league. You don't see 6'7", 6'8" point guards with the athleticism that he has. He's got a good handle. He can create. He's athletic as well. Just needs to improve as a shooter. And I think if he really locks in on the defensive end, he could be a difference maker on that side due to his size and athleticism. O'Connor saying this about Dink, saying Pate looks the part of an athletic wing who can handle the ball, but he hasn't produced effectively in 2 G League seasons. Any team that takes him is rolling the dice that he someday develops his skill. And look, if you pick 50th overall, that's the type of player I'm looking for. We got a couple more players to talk about on today's show, but you need to get your Knicks shirt that has the 4th of July colors on it because it's right around the corner. Go to chatsports.com/KnicksUSA, chatsports.com/KnicksUSA. I'll make sure that link is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Another player that we're going to talk about that has been linked to the Knicks by James L. Edwards is Kobe Bryant, the sharpshooting wing from Kentucky, a dangerous player from the perimeter as proven by his high volume and success in college. I've talked to people who think he is the best three-point shooter in the class as he knocked down almost 44% of his shots from downtown. He can fill that role player responsibility really well. Not a great defender due to his size, kind of has a little Desmond Bane in him where his arm length and wingspan is shorter than his actual height, but this is someone that possesses a rare ability to get hot from downtown. I see a little bit of Luke Kennard in his game, a spectacular shooter who could do it in multiple ways. 97th percentile in shots off the dribble, 93rd percentile in catch and shoot shots, and 96th percentile in spot up, while also having the 88th percentile in efficiency when it comes to shots off of the handoff. Negative wingspan on defense, not someone you really trust with the ball in his hands to run the action, and doesn't look to get to the rim. But look, when you shoot it like he does from downtown, 43.5%, you're just going to let it fly. And the Knicks could definitely benefit from more shooting on this roster. They had the 10th best three-point percentage in the playoffs of 16 teams, so they definitely need to improve there. And if Bryant starts to slip into round 2, I would not be upset at all if the New York Knicks look to trade up. You need more shooting, high upside player, and a guy named Kobe. I'm definitely down to add him to this team. A shooter. Like, that's what I'm looking for in the second round. Someone with a proven skill. He does that by shooting the ball. Micah Peavy, the wing out of Georgetown, is the next player I want to talk about. A downhill attacker offensively. 42% of his shots come at the rim, and he converts at a 57% clip. Takes a little while to get the shot off, but a real high release. Shot 59% when it comes to effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot. That's the 85th percentile. Went from 31% on 2.6 attempts to 40% on 4.1 attempts from his 4th to 5th year from downtown. So he improved there, and that's what you want to see, growth in a young player. Gets a lot of lift on his pull-up mid-range jumper, 90th percentile in the mid-range jumpers made. Quick and active hands, who creates a lot of transition opportunities as well. And he's got good size, 6'6" without shoes, a 6'7" wingspan, 8'5" standing reach as well, and a lot of production, 17.2 points per game last year. There's a way where I can see this guy getting in the league, but he's got some things he's got to improve on as well. Turns the ball over a little bit too much. Not that great of a free throw shooter, which is surprising considering how well he shoots the ball from downtown, and he's a little bit of an older prospect as well, and I know that sometimes scares away some teams in the NBA. So Peavy, someone that can let it fly, got good size at 6'6", interested in him. Jameer Watkins is another name to monitor as well. This guy can score, man. He can fill it up. 18.4 points per game last year, 43% for the field. Not the most efficient three-point shooter as well. A slasher who does most of his work from 14 feet and in, 85th percentile in mid-range jumpers made. 36% of the field goal attempts came at the rim, which is really a big diet of that shot selection, and shot 58% on those shots, so that's good. I think he uses size well on the glass, an underrated rebounder, 5.7 per night, and could find a role in the NBA with his defense. When he focuses on that end, he could be really disruptive. O'Connor saying Watkins is a versatile player who can run the show, slash to the paint, and switch across positions on defense. But the development of his jumper is stuck in quicksand, which raises questions about his ability to excel in a less prominent on-ball role. He definitely has to improve as a shooter if he wants to stick in the NBA, but he has a lot of qualities and skill sets that I like in a young guy. Got to continue to develop and work on that outside shot, and maybe he could find himself in a role on a winning team down the line. Kobe Sanders, the last player we're going to talk about on today's show. This is a guy that averaged 16 points per game last year, 4.5 assists per night, but not that great of a three-point percentage at 34.2. He's got great positional size at 6'7" without shoes, 6'8+ wingspan, and he's a true point guard. Runs the pick and roll at an unreal efficient level, rated in the 91st percentile, and shot 51% on attempts in this play type. Doesn't turn the ball over despite the high usage rate as well. Gets to the free throw line at a good rate, and a good mid-range shooter, 98th percentile in non-paint two-pointers made. He's a good player, and I like a bigger point guard next to Jalen Brunson. You could stay bigger in the backcourt with him, and you can allow Brunson to play off ball a little bit more, and that's something that I want to see over, like, really since Brunson joined the New York Knicks. Like, when it comes to points per spot up, catch and shoot, playing off the ball, he's one of the best and most efficient in the NBA. So if you can have a point guard that can control the paint at a bigger clip and take care of the rock and let Brunson play some of that off-ball role, I think that could take this offense to a new height. I'm really interested in Kobe Sanders and see a little bit of Sean Livingston in his game as well. Name a player you want the New York Knicks to draft. I wish they had a first-round pick. The draft is a lot more fun to cover when they do, but I'm not going to doubt Leon Rose as he might try to make some shake tomorrow. Give me a name of a player you want the Knicks to draft, and make sure you are following me on the different social media platforms, and be here tomorrow, 30 minutes before the draft kicks off, because we're going to be covering it New York Knicks Now style.